welcome to Research Bites, your daily dose of science news. I remember visiting my friend's coffee estate when I was about 8 years old and thinking about how zen and forest-like it was. But the thing is, despite the lavish scenery, plantations like that one are largely made of the same species of plant and don't really attract much animal biodiversity. Primary forests, on the other hand, have very little traces of human interference, and they're not only home to important species of animals and birds, but the trees also store a lot of carbon that would have otherwise escaped into our atmosphere as carbon dioxide and warmed the planet. So reclaiming plantation lands that were once part of a magnificent forest is quite an important task. But the real question is, can a forest regenerate successfully? In a study that was published in the Journal of Tropical Ecology, the researchers archived the regeneration of forests from eucalyptus plantations over the span of 11 years in the Kalakkad Mundanturai Tiger Reserve in Tamil Nadu. Back in the 1960s, some forest patches in the Tiger Reserve were cut down to grow eucalyptus for firewood for the nearby tea estates. These plantations were later abandoned and are now a part of the protected reserve. When the abandoned eucalyptus plantations were first studied in 2005, it had already been 25 years since there was any human intervention in these forests. In 2016, after 36 years of remaining untouched, these plantations are still growing to resemble the surrounding natural forest. This is called a secondary forest, and it is formed after some disturbance or modification. It is made up of a subset of trees that are found in the primary forests. What the researchers did was repeat the methods that were used in the 2005 study, and they looked at the trees present in 30 randomly selected sampling plots. They noted the structural aspects of the trees, like their diameter, and classified them as either adults, saplings, or seedlings. They also analyzed how the seeds of these trees were dispersed in the forest and noted changes in the species structure, which is also called the succession stages. They then classified the trees into gap species. Now, gap species are the first trees to colonize the plantation, and they usually have smaller seed sizes since they're dispersed by birds. After them comes the closed canopy species. They colonize the plantations at a later regeneration stage and usually have larger seed sizes. The last type of species are the ones that are introduced into the forest. The researchers finally compared their findings with the data from the 2005 study and documented the differences. In 11 years' time, the species diversity in the plantation forest had increased by 67%, and there was a whopping 156% increase in the number of gap species trees. Also, there are twice as many trees that were dispersed by birds, and thrice the number of trees were dispersed by mammals. As expected, the primary forest had 5 times the density of closed canopy trees when compared to the plantation forest. These closed canopy trees are important because they can grow very big and store much more carbon. The researchers observed that regenerating forests did not accumulate as many closed canopy trees over time, and so they might not be able to store as much carbon. This study filled in a gap in our understanding about how forests in protected areas are regenerating in India. And these kinds of comparative studies let us take a step back and look at the bigger picture of how our thirst for resources is affecting our ecosystem. Thank you for listening. Don't forget to like, share, and follow. I hope you liked this podcast. It was brought to you by Research Matters, a SciComm initiative by Gubi Labs. For more science-based stories, podcasts, and news, log on to our website www.researchmatters.in.